it's exquisite and it's relentless. You know, it's fun and it's challenging. And for us to be able to be in real conversation about those realities, I think it's just something that, you know, it's a revolution, right? Mm-hmm. It's a revolution. So, thank you. Yeah, so, I don't know, just tell me what you've been, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I think we're both, our nerves.
Yeah, I feel so nervous. I feel like this is a job interview or something.
Yeah, you feel nervous? You feel like I'm giving you a job interview?
No, it's not you. It's
just.
Huh?
Yeah.
I think it's just us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, get it together.
Oh,
okay. We got it. I'm together.
Yeah. You know, just go back to how we are with one another all the time.
Yeah.
You know? I would love to know what you think is one of your superpowers.
That's a great question. Actually, and this is new for me, but I think one of my superpowers is something that has to do with the way my brain works and how it's set up. And I think that the way that it's set up helps me be the type of actor that I am and be able to access my emotions in ways that others can't easily. It comes easily to me. But it's funny that you asked that because I was literally just thinking about this the other day, and I was like, I actually think my brain it's a superpower. I actually think it's something good and positive. Yeah. So yeah.
That just has me smiling so big inside, right? Because has that always been the case?
No. Not at all.
You see?
It took me a long time to embrace it. A long time. I think I fought it for a long time. And it really, this is, and when I say recent, I mean literally in the last 5 days, I was like, it's a superpower. Wow. The way I'm set up, that's what makes me me. And I think the more, like I said, I really embrace that part of myself, and love it completely and wholly, it just makes me a much better person and a more complete person. And I feel like I'm actually growing because I've embraced it instead of trying to, I guess, fight it all those years. You know, if that makes sense. So it's like, I'm a little shocked right now. You asked me that because I literally 5 days ago was like, it's a superpower for sure. Yeah. For sure.
You're shocked. I'm shocked. But I'm shocked in the way that, when we begin to be more present and have more self-awareness, we discover that the life we've been given is perfect. Yeah. And we discover that the challenges are not meant to break us. They're not meant to leave us out of the joy of life. They are part of the refining of us so that we can truly step into all that we are. I mean, I think we all have experienced thinking that there was something wrong with us, or something that didn't serve us, or something that we needed to, or we wish we hadn't been born this way or into this situation. But when you use it as your tailor-made path, right?
Yeah.
So when you go, like that, Nic, talk to me.
Two things come into my mind. I feel like my trauma story for a long time was the fact that I grew up without my dad, and that was like a big sore spot for me. And I feel like I was chasing that thing that I could never get back or recreate in my childhood. And I learned that what there was to face was not the fact that he wasn't there, but the decisions I made about myself in his absence, about who I was or what I was worth, or some feeling of incompletion.
Yes.
And In his absence, maybe this would have happened while he was there, became a really sensitive boy that felt that maybe the odds were against me. I grew up feeling very lonely, and as a result was always introspective, was receding into the corners of my mind. And without that, without the ability to find a safe haven there, I wouldn't be the artist that I am. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to use my mind in a myriad of like fascinating ways. So I don't regret my childhood at all. And that took a long time because it was so easy for a long time to point the finger. And I'm like, maybe, you know, this was perfect. Maybe a part of me even chose this. And it's like been perfectly designed for me to step into who I'm ultimately becoming / supposed to be, you know? So I feel that. I regretted what was my superpower for so long.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, we are connected to something, and that something does have an impact, and it'll steer us even more brilliantly the more we make room for it.
You taught me that. You taught me that because there are so many times in my life where I'm thinking of someone and they text me or they call me or I'll call you and you'll say, I just thought about you 5 minutes ago. And that used to be a big, like, I used to animate about it, like, oh my God, that's so crazy. And you would tell me, that's not crazy, that's energy. That's how that works. Yeah, you rang me before you rang me. Like,
yeah. What I also heard in your share, Nic, was how often we take a set of events and we create this narrative in our head that is not based upon the facts, but based upon our interpretation without ever really exploring the facts.
Yeah.
If you had explored why your dad wasn't there, you wouldn't have been left with the narratives that were saying you're not good enough.
Totally.
And then we wait, 30, 40, 50, 60 years before we reconcile, if we're lucky, before we reconcile and realize, oh, this whole time I've been living out of a narrative that was never actually confronted by the facts.
I see people living on the other side or living with not confronting that, and I'm like, it can't be me. Like, life is a long time and I want to enjoy as much of it as I can. So I feel that. And sometimes, to this day, I'm still telling myself things like, the way I speak to myself sometimes. I'm like, if I said that to you or you, I wouldn't be invited to this table. And I've learned to interrupt that. I've been in a relationship for almost 6 years now. And a framework we've created in our relationship is the framework of the story I'm telling myself. Yeah. Like my brain, my unique combo of traumas and past hurts is creating a story that may or not be true. And I want to share that with you so we can dismantle it together,
Yeah.
That's been really helpful to have a space to be like, my brain is wired to do that still, but I just want to get better at catching it and I need your help.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think early on, when I discovered these things about my brain and how it functioned, I think for me, it was hard to manage, it was hard to navigate, and it was hard to embrace. And then I think as the years went on, I would fall, or I like to say sometimes burn down to the ground. I did it so many times that I'd rise in the ashes and be like, how did all this happen? And I noticed a pattern that I think I would get up and run away, but I'd be running in circles. I wasn't, because I wasn't addressing anything. I think I would pack stuff away in a drawer and never come back to that drawer. I have a chest, and I just would never, I never dealt with it.
Had to keep buying dressers.
I had to keep buying dressers
for more
because there was a
drawers.
lot of them. Yeah, and I think I'd fallen hard enough times where I was like, I got tired, and I also started to realize like, well, I don't love myself very much if I keep running in these circles. And it didn't feel good. We've talked about this sometimes, me and you, Tina, about me being so self-deprecating. Like, I'll make jokes about myself, but it's not always very nice way. It's not a nice way to speak. It's not funny, but I'll laugh. But that's my way to like not deal with it. And so I've been learning how to deal with it. And it is like we were discussing, it's a work in progress. Like I'm still learning, but I'm learning to like unpack, because if I can unpack it and deal with it, then I can grow and move on to the next thing, and also let go. Because I think I've walked around with a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff, and it was getting in the way of me.
Up until now.
Yeah, up until now.
You had a lot of stuff.
I had a
up
lot of
until
stuff, and so I'm like letting some of those things go.
I bet a lot of it wasn't even yours. Like you're carrying
I'm
other
carrying
people's.
stuff that's
You're like actually.
Well, that's the thing for me too. Like I'm a caretaker, and so I'm really good at taking care of you and making sure you're good. But I never made sure that I was good. And like for my mental health, for me, like that's the thing I've learned to prioritize. Like I gotta be okay first. I gotta love me first, and I gotta embrace me first before I can embrace anybody else, because it made me a bad friend, a bad partner, and I don't want to be those things. And I know I'm better than that too.
It made you needy. I'm not calling you needy, but we become needy when our self-esteem is derived from outside of ourselves. We have to keep finding sources that can give it to us, right? Which weakens us, because now we're always in that survival mode, trying to get to that thing that we so desperately need. I tell you, Rue, it is exciting to talk to you, because every single time we talk, you've expanded. There's more of you showing up. There's more awareness. There's more self-acceptance. And it's just beautiful to watch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It feels good too. Feels good. And I like that I'm feeling different. It doesn't feel. I'm liking that I'm getting up and it's not familiar, and there's no ashes. And everything, I'm not in the ash. Like everything is okay. So it feels good. And I guess sometimes you don't know what that feeling is like until you can go through it and get there. It's because it's hard to explain it to somebody who hasn't gone through it.
It's true.
That
It's
makes
true.
sense. So.
There's a researcher by the name of Joe Dispenza, and he talks about the habit of being you. And one of the powers about what you just said, falling down, not creating the normal story, actually pulls you out of the habit of you and allows room for a new you. But when we fall down and then we tell the same story, we are honoring the habit of us, staying attached to that habit, and blocking the doorway or path to who we can become.
I did that for a really long time because I had been through so much. It was a badge of honor. You can't take that away from me. No, I've been through some shit, okay? No, this is mine. I can't.
And this is real.
Yeah.
I've been through some real shit.
Exactly. So I had a hard time letting go of that and not showing up with that, and just stepping into like the thriving, as you would say, part of it. So thank you. At one point, due to my environment, I had to show up with that bite and that stuff. But it's like, you're safe now. You're good. We're good. Just enjoy it.
The idea of not wanting to give up our sacred identities is something that I think we all struggle with, and if we aren't struggling with it, we aren't really in relationship with ourselves, because we all like the drama that being who we have been, as we have been up until now, we like it because it's familiar. Even if it's painful, we like it because it tells us exactly where we are. We like it because it proves that how we see life is valid, and that these things really did happen to us, right? And if we have to give those things up, then who do we become? But that's the beauty, because when we challenge those things, we give ourselves space to become.
I was replaying those narratives for sure, because I was abandoned. I would show up in such a way that people would abandon me and then go, see? Told you that's what happens. That's what people do. And it satiated part of my brain despite the breakup or the friend being painful. But it was just like, I know how things go. See? And it was just such a wall and so much ego there. But yeah.
Satiated a part of the brain. I think that is such an accurate statement. It satiates. It makes the part that has found its life through you feel safe.
Yep. You know, there was a time, I'm not sure how far I am from this, where showing up in a heated confrontation, I was confident. I could tell somebody how they had messed me up. But being vulnerable and saying, hey, you hurt me. You know, I had no voice or power in that space because I was so comfortable, confident in that lower vibration version of me. So that's real. It felt very safe to show up that way.
Okay, so I have a game that I want to play. All right?
Okay.
I'm going to lay out 14 cards that represent the practices that are in my book, The Inner Fitness Revolution. And you each will pick the card that you're drawn to. And then we'll just see whether or not that card speaks to you in a way that you can truly relate to in real time.
Ooh.
Okay.
Can we mix them all up?
The
Cards! The cards! I got voodoo. Okay.
Okay, all right.
I feel like
Drew,
that one was running over to me.
Yeah, that one?
I'm gonna keep her.
Okay, all right. All right, and I'm gonna take these babies here. Okay, Rue, I'm gonna let you turn your card over and read it.
Okay. I ask for my higher power's assistance in all I do. So that's about right. I've been asking.
Have you been asking?
I have. Yeah, there's some things I've been dealing with that I've been asking for, like guidance and just strength to endure whatever it is that I need to endure to get through this next little phase of my life. So yeah.
And what does asking look like for you?
Prayers for me, and you know, I guess some people might be like, I talk to myself, but I'm actually speaking to my higher power, so I speak out loud a lot. I'm very mindful of my thoughts and what I'm saying, what I'm asking for, and making sure that it's, you know, on a positive track. And I just try to be open to whatever energy that I need to receive.
Oh,
I mean,
Rutina.
well, I don't know. What?
Rutina. I mean, it's almost like I could have given you a script, because everything that you just said is exactly what we need to do to access that thriving range of ourselves. The surviving self, that worry, doubt, and fear self that is so comfortable in what has been and doesn't want things to change, you know, comfortable in the dis-ease because the dis-ease is more familiar than the unknown, you know, and the possibility is terrifying. So you said that just from your heart, from your want, from your yearning, you've been asking. And asking looks like prayers, right? And then you said that you talk to yourself. One of the most important things the most important person in our lives is us. And so for your voice to speak, for your subconscious to hear you speak to yourself with intention and vision is an incredibly powerful thing. And then you said that you're open and that you're mindful of how you talk, because you know that you are speaking with your higher power in mind. You know that there is some level, some part of you believes that there is something listening to you. which means there's a part of you that believes and understands that you're connected. And all of that is the benefit of an awakening, thriving self. And everything that you just said will interrupt the surviving self. All of it.
I didn't even think about it in that way, but you telling me it's like absolutely interrupts any old patterns I have. And I didn't even know I was doing it. I was just, so it's yeah.
So
Wow.
what does a prayer sound like?
Prayer, prayer can sound like, I think I've said things like, God is my health, I can't be sick. And just, I'll repeat it 3 times, and then maybe three times a day. I guess like an affirmation too. So I've started doing saying things like that to myself. And then, when I talk to myself, I think sometimes I'm like, come on, girl, you got this. Like, it's real simple.
Yeah.
It's real, like,
Yeah.
and that I am enough, I think. So, because I think for a long time, I didn't think I was enough for myself. So it would show up in my other relationships, and I would wonder why people would either pull away from me or stuff, because I didn't think I was enough, and I didn't love it. I didn't love all of it. I like some of it, but I didn't love all of it, And so, like I said, where I am now, it's like, you kind of gotta love all of it, in order to like thrive, I think. And it, like you were saying. So yeah, that's just, and it makes me chuckle when I talk to myself too, when I do it sometimes. But it's very, I believe in the power behind it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: when you say you feel something, do you ever feel a level of calm, a level of?
Yeah, I guess I would say oftentimes I feel a sense of relief.
Yeah.
When I express myself, and let something go, I do feel a overwhelmingly, I think, sense of relief and release, and then I think it ends up being calmness. And I have to do it often because sometimes it doesn't last long for me, the calmness, because I think my old habits and patterns like to creep back in. But it is very, like, I feel like whenever I do it, immediately afterwards, I have to take this deep breath, and not even realizing that that's what I'm doing, because it just, that my body is telling me something, and it is a release, I think.
Again, there's just so much brilliance and science and health in what you're saying, because when we have told ourselves that we're not good enough, when we have left ourselves out, the most healing, one of the most healing things that can happen is that every single time we talk to ourselves, we basically are acknowledging and saying, oh, you belong to me. Oh, I care. Oh, you matter. I matter. And that's what was missing. The judgment.
Yeah.
The judgment left that part of us exiled. And the fact that we are willing to take a second and talk to it means that we are acknowledging our own value, our own worth. And that part of us that got, ignored feels it. Plus, I feel that anytime we are in loving relationship with ourselves, we are in connection with truth. And truth will always up-level our calm. It's beautiful, right? It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's beautiful. So, Nic, same,
I got practice number 7. Here we go. I release all people and things from the responsibility of making me happy.
Mic drop.
Whoa. That's real talk right there. What comes to mind is, like I said, the abandonment, which feels like a big wound that I'm still trying to heal, would also release people before they could release me. You know, it was a survival tactic. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get out before this hurts me or before the inevitable happens. Releasing all people and things from their responsibility puts the onus then back on me, you know? Because for a long time I didn't know how to do that. So I tried to smoke it away, I tried to drink it away, I tried to relationship it away. And that's a silly practice to do because, you know, that almost everything is ephemeral, but I'm not. I'll be here the whole ride. And it wasn't until I lost my mom and began therapy that I began to build that part of myself up. And I think that, you know, things keep showing up in your life in a way until you pass
whose
that.
life?
In my life. I'll use my eye. Things show up in my life until I pass that test. And I don't, you know, it's not as pass-fail as some people think it is, but in my life, I find that something will keep, you know, nudging me until I pay attention to it. So I feel that I'm in a much better place with that now than I have been, and I know myself enough to give myself happiness. I know when I'm out of whack, I'm my best partner. Nick, you out of whack? We need to go upstairs and meditate for a second. You know, actually take a walk before you take that phone call. Like I can do it. You know what I mean? And then as a result, the only person I can be disappointed in is myself. But I'm not pointing fingers anymore. And if I am, it's in the mirror. You know.
What I love about that is, as you are sharing your experience of Practice 7, which is I release all people and things from the responsibility of making me happy, one of the things is this habit of holding grudges and requiring people to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The habit is a thing as tangible as any physical thing.
Yes.
And to be able to release yourself of that habit creates the space necessary for that deep breath.
Yeah.
What I heard in your share was, I release all things. And I think that all is infinite. I mean, it has tentacles that go very deep. And the more aware we become of ourselves and see the subtle games that we play or the subtle ways that we, you know, protect ourselves, then all of those subtleties wind up being things that we release, you know, and they're no longer needed for our sense of self.
Yeah.
It's very exciting stuff.
Yeah. This to me, you know, releasing people from the responsibility to make me happy also makes me come back to gratitude, because then when people do love on me and show up, there's the understanding of like, Rutina, you didn't have to do that and you did, and I appreciate you, as opposed to the expectation that you'll show up and you have. It allows me to just be like, wow, you did this, you went above and beyond for me. You know, I would have figured it out, but hey, you lended a hand, you gave me a shoulder. So
Yeah.
what is that? What comes to you?
Well, I think for me, I think I reached out to people or things to try to complete myself because I thought I was incomplete. So I would use somebody or something to complete that. And then when that thing is gone, I would be incredibly broken and unhappy.
Yeah.
And so only, I guess, like in my 40s, am I learning like only I can sort of bring that happiness to myself.
Yeah.
Only I can do it. I think only I have the infinite power to do it myself. I can buy things and, you know, shop around and people, but it's never really going to give me the full happiness that I could give myself. So something that you said, like, it takes the responsibility off of everything and everyone else, and it puts it back on you. Because a lot of the times it's me. You know, like I'm the problem.
Yeah.
I'm the thing that's I'm the reason I'm not happy. Because when I've tried to do those things for myself and I've really like focused on self-care for one, or managing my brain better. It's made me happy. So I know I have that power, but I think I can sometimes revert back to old patterns of behavior and habits and forget my power sometimes. Because I do think all we need is ourselves. It's hard to say because I think we all want things and love and whatnot, but really we're okay with just us, with just ourselves, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Rutina, you said so many things. Because really, we are okay with ourselves when we know that we are whole, right? And then you also, you said the stories that we tell ourselves, or whatever the narrative is the lie. It's never been the truth.
Yeah.
It's not the truth. We've been telling ourselves a lie. And so what is occurring is we are learning to tell ourselves the truth.
Yeah.
And the truth is that you're whole. The truth is that we start whole. The truth is that if we get disconnected from our wholeness, a lie is present.
Yeah.
And now all we have to do is look for the lie, And in the Inner Fitness Revolution, there are 7 laws of self, and law number 6 says, unnurtured, we default to ingrained surviving self instincts. So when you say, that you have to keep being mindful, because otherwise you fall into, this retreat, these old habits, these old patterns. Well, that's what you're wired to do, because the surviving self would be very happy with you never, ever changing at all. And that intention is so strong for that scared part of self that the moment we stop exercising the nurturing of the thriving self, we become at risk of the natural retreat. And it doesn't mean that we're wrong. It doesn't mean that, we are messing up our lives and we don't want to move forward. No, this is what the surviving self does and has been doing it in the name of survival of the species for hundreds of thousands of years. And now we're in a position to consciously impact that.
Yeah, it's our responsibility to find our way back.
Yes.
Yeah, leave the breadcrumbs. Be like, hey, you went off the path, Little Red. We're going this way.
Yeah, and leave the breadcrumbs for ourselves and for the folks who are coming up behind us.
Absolutely.
So I have another little game.
Oh.
Another little game.
Okay.
So I'm going to hand these to you. I'm going to hand them like this. And Ru, we're going to go with you first. And I invite you to turn it over and then speak to what you see. And then say anything that comes to your mind that you might want to say to that person.
I see, I got speechless. I see little me and Pops.
How old are you?
Oh man, I'm probably like 6 or 7. And I love my daddy so much. He was my favorite. You got this, girl. You're gonna be just fine. That's what I feel like I would say to her right now. But also she reminds me of, I was a big dreamer when I was a kid. And, I thought the stars were possible, anything. So I just she's reminding me hey, remember when we used to just have fun and dream and play with our Barbies? Yeah, it's you're not gonna make me cry. I'm not gonna cry. But yeah, that's what I have like a reminder, and then I would just also like letting her know that I got you. She's gonna be just fine.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you.
you.
Okay. Mr. Nic?
No, thank you. No, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Lord. This is crazy. Wow. I've always been beautiful.
Yes!
Wow.
Yes!
So this photo was, I was 11, 12, 13 here. I had just done The Lion King on Broadway. I don't know if you've seen it. And, you know, if I were to say anything to him, I'm not sure he would listen. You know, this kid was like a know-it-all because he did. I feel like he has a lot to teach me, and I've been trying to reconnect with him. When I was young, I begged my mom to make my stage name Nehemiah. I was like, it's fabulous. Like, Nicholas, no. Nehemiah, star. Do you see it? Nehemiah Ashe. I wanted to put a little accent over my E. And now when I'm doing work in therapy or even outside of therapy, I refer to my younger self as Nehemiah. I kind of honor his chosen name. This person was the closest to fearless I've ever been in my life. I think a lot of adults were trying to put things on me and toughen up and man up and you're to this, and he didn't wear any of it, you know? I think that's where the sharp tongue and the hard-headedness came from. It's like, I know better than y'all, because how y'all do in life don't look, you look stressed. Like, I'm gonna try something else, you know?
Right.
So I'm trying to get back.
I'm just trying to stay beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
Y'all getting beautiful.
Yeah, you see this? Like, so I'm honestly trying to reinvite that level of bravery, and I don't care what people have to say. Again, removing the ego from it, but landing somewhere in the middle, because my experience in high school and early in our show even was fraught with me, you know, discovering who I was and really locking away the parts of that I did not like. And this person had room for every part of himself, regardless of who did or didn't. Like I said, he was fearless and unashamed. And somewhere along the way, I became ashamed of him and tucked him away. So yeah, I'm welcoming him back and doing more listening to him. And you know, a lot of the things that he suffered went unaddressed, and I'm making space for him to voice those things and say, yeah, that was messed up. That did happen. And you know, you were forced to kind of gaslight yourself to be able to survive. But you know, we're done surviving. You're safe here. Let people in. And you are fabulous. Oh my God. I love him. I love him. And I'd like to think that he's impressed with what we're doing some 15 years later.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I said it at the beginning of this conversation, and I will say it again. Each one of you, I have experienced such wonderful connection. I can't say conversation, because the conversation is words, but the connection speaks to the commitment between us to be in the conversation. And I get that with both of you. And Rutina, watching you flower brings joy to my heart, because you have so much to give. Yes, you're a fabulous actress, but your heart is fabulous. And your heart deserves the love that it is receiving. It's really beautiful. Nic, oh my.
I'm listening.
And that's the part of you that I love. You know, you felt the disconnect, but he is fierce enough and has enough energy that he was present even when you felt disconnected, because I met him.
Yeah.
You know, I met the Nick who gets up on his toes and twirls around. I met that guy. Right?
Yeah.
You know? And so it's really a delight and an honor to be in relationship, in connection, in friendship, in respect with you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know, I aside from all of the ways that you're growing, I've watched you be able to have difficult conversations better. So I thank you all for showing up
Thank you.
for me and the Inner Fitness Revolution.
Me and Rutina have a surprise for you.
Oh.
That we would like to share with Tina Lifford. Talk to us about her. Oh. What's going on there?
What's going on there?
So, South Central was my first series. And I so remember the audition process. I was convinced that everyone was rooting for this other actress to get the role of Joan Mosley. And it was so obvious to me that was the direction that people were leaning, that when they called me and told me that I got Joan, what I knew then and what I was given by her was to dare to be undeniable, to dare to stand in your dream and just see. Don't count yourself out. And what I know today is that I can dream even bigger. As much as I love this thing called acting, I can dream bigger than that. So I thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you very much. Thank you for staying for this conversation. If your life is calling you to be better from the inside out, the Inner Fitness Revolution awaits.